I'm Elizabeth at A Literary Princess. If you are new here, welcome. I have a PhD in English literature with a focus on Victorian women novelists, and as you might expect, I love to read. Today I have a tag video for you. This is the role of the BookTuber tag created by Allison from Allison Annotated. I wasn't tagged, but I've really been enjoying everybody's versions of this, and I wanted to do one of my own because this is a fantastic tag. So we have 7 questions. Let's jump in. Question number 1, how do you view your role as a booktuber? Examples might be as a critic, a curator, an influencer, an entertainer, an educator, etc. This is why I wanted to do this tag. The questions are so great. I really see myself as a community member. Almost like BookTube is like a book club and I'm just one person in it and we're all having a conversation. I guess, of course, there is aspects of being a critic because I do review books. And I suppose there are aspects of being an influencer because I am definitely sometimes trying to get you to pick up books that I think you should read. But really, I just feel like I'm a community member, like just one person that's part of the conversation. You would think that there would be some aspect of the educator since that is actually what I do professionally, but I don't feel that I really generally am making videos to teach something. If you learn something from my videos, great. But mostly I'm just kind of chatting and like, here's what I'm reading, here's what I thought, here's this interesting thing that I want to talk about. I don't know. And I guess, I mean, I'm not trying like specifically to be entertaining, but I hope you are occasionally entertained. I think I'm quite funny, so, you know. But yeah, mostly just a community member. And I mean, I guess with some things, a researcher that's sharing my research. I guess an academic, because that's what I am. Like, especially with my project videos, I feel like those project videos, I'm going on like a journey to learn something myself and to look deeply into it, and then I am sharing the results of that journey with you, which is really what I do as an academic when I'm writing a paper or presenting at a conference. So yeah, community member / researcher, academic, with, I guess, technically a bit of critic in there. Question number 2, do you have any educational background in literature or literary criticism, either formal or self-directed? And if you are comfortable sharing, do you have any other education or professional experience that you bring to bear on your reviews? Yeah, so that PhD in English literature. So I have a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD, all in English. My master's is in English literary studies with a concentration in Romantic and Victorian literature. My PhD is focused on Victorian literature, as I say in every introduction. And then my bachelor's, I have concentrations in both literature and creative writing. So yeah, this obviously impacts my reviews a lot. And I think that I do often approach my reviews, like my full reviews, from a more academic point where I'm like, ooh, look at these themes and the motifs and all of that. And also, here's this interesting literary history that affects how this author wrote this. So yeah, that definitely impacts the way I review things. I do think that bachelor's concentration in creative writing does a little bit too, because it's like I don't just read literature, I do write it, or I did write it. I haven't written in so long. That's not quite true. I've been writing some poetry, but so, and when you do creative writing courses, like you learn like, yes, to do your own writing, but you also study the other writing to see what makes it, other people's writing to see what makes it good writing. So I think that also like affects how I review books probably. Question number 3, do you typically do any research on either the book or the author before you review a book? It kind of depends on what type of review I'm doing. So I do written reviews on my blog, or theoretically I do written reviews on my blog. And then I do book review videos here occasionally, and then I do project videos, which are book reviews, but also like more in-depth look at them. So sometimes for the written reviews, I do look at other people's reviews to see what other people are saying, especially after I finish the book and I'm like, are other people having the same issues about this book with me, or are other people liking this? So I do go and read, and sometimes that gets me thinking about things in the book that I might not have consciously picked up on before, and makes me think about, oh, what was my opinion on how the author handled this particular character's backstory? I don't know, whatever. So I do that sometimes, not always. It kind of depends on the book and how much I feel like I have to say about it, I guess. For my project videos, I do research into the history of the book and the author. So what was the author doing at the time of its publication? What are some of the like contemporary reviews of the book saying? What was the public's reaction? That type of thing. And then for my just book review videos on here, I guess occasionally, again, looking at other people's reviews, but not really. I haven't done many book review, like just book review videos. Or I guess I have. They're all on Victorian books though, so I don't know. Question 4, do you focus your reviews more on the objective qualities of a book or more on your subjective opinions about it? I would say it's a mix of both. And I would also say that I don't think there really is much objectiveness about deciding like whether a book is good. Like, yes, there is good writing, but even a really well-written book can be a bad book. I think it's really a subjective thing. But yeah, I do talk about like the more objective aspects, the quality of the writing and the structure, pacing, and character development. But then it's also like, did I have fun? Was I engaged? Did I find the theme super fascinating? Was I just meh about all that? Did I hate anything? Like, maybe I couldn't stand the way the author writes, or like their narrative voice, or maybe the characters were boring in my opinion. So that stuff is more subjective. I don't know, it's very much a mix. But I think I do try to always say, like, this is my opinion. If you like the book, then that I'm so happy for you that you enjoyed it. I personally didn't, and that's fine. And here's some reasons people who share similar tastes to me might not like it, but, you know, here's some things that could be appealing to other people. I try to be fair, but like, while also saying this is how I feel about the book. Question number 5, have you ever received a free book or advanced reader copy from the author? If so, did it have any impact on your ability to honestly review the book, or how you felt about it? So I mostly receive advanced reader copies through NetGalley. I have had one time that a publicist reached out to me on behalf of the author to send me a free copy. I think at the very beginning when I started reviewing books on NetGalley, I felt kind of awkward if I didn't like the book. And I do think just getting a free copy makes me more inclined to be nice about it, I guess. Not that I like try to be mean in any of my reviews. I don't try to be mean, ever. I think the only authors I'm really ever mean about are dead. So nobody's feelings can be hurt. But I do think that getting a free copy makes me more inclined to look for positive aspects, even if maybe the book overall wasn't my favorite. At the beginning, I wouldn't say it impacted my ability to honestly review it. It's just I felt really awkward if I didn't like the book. But I'm over that now. I just kinda, here's what I thought. Not that I've been writing my reviews on my blog, ever. Really need to like sit down one day and more than one day, like 2-3 days, and write all the reviews that I have just, you know, backlogged. Oops. Anyway, I will say that the one book that I got from the publicist, I went into, I was like, I really hope I like this because it's gonna be so awkward if I don't. Luckily, I did like it, but it is kind of awkward. You're like, I don't want to trash the book when they gave me a free copy, but what if it's not a good book, you know? Question number 6, do you review every book you read? Are there any reasons that you might read a book but choose not to review it? So I briefly talk in my wrap-up videos about every book I read in the month that I've read it, and I give it a star rating. There has been one occasion where I opted not to rate a book, and that is because the book is very nostalgic for me, but also the author is being kind of awful at the moment. And by kind of awful, I mean really awful. So, and they're not dead. If the author's terrible but dead, I'm like, whatever. But they're still alive. So I opted just to not give that a star rating, and I don't think I talked about it very in depth in my wrap-up. I said, I read this for reasons, and yeah, I'm not rating it. Move on. I wouldn't really consider like my little wrap-up blurb about every book a full review though. So I do not like do a full review on every book. First of all, I don't have time for that. Second of all, I don't have energy for that. Third of all, like a lot of times I just don't have much to say. So the books that I do full reviews on are theoretically the advanced reader copies I get. We're just not going to talk about it at the moment that I'm being a horrible reviewer. It's fine. It's fine. I'll do them. I will. I will. And for, like last Victober, I did a lot of reviews of the Victorian novels I was reading. And I recently did one of A Life for a Life. And I think I am I'm gonna try to do more video reviews on some Victorian books, especially the lesser known ones, but also, you know, the more well-known ones that I maybe haven't read yet or that I'm rereading. I haven't really decided. So, yeah, I don't know. There aren't really any good reasons or bad reasons that I have to not review a book. It's like, did I get it on NetGalley? Then I should technically review it. Or is this a Victorian book that people might be interested in hearing about? Then I review it. Or Jane Austen's Bookshelf, I did a review of that last year, which I got a free copy in a Goodreads giveaway, so I kind of felt I should do a full review of it. So, yeah, I don't know. There's really no rhyme or reason particularly. I used to do more reviews on my blog, like not just the NetGalley books, but just whatever books I was also reading. But that was back when I had more time and more energy, and I don't have that anymore. I don't even have the energy to review the NetGalley books. So, question number 7, how do you feel about the fact that many people now primarily consume book reviews by hobbyists on BookTube rather than professional critics? What is lost? What is gained? That's such an interesting question. Well, I mean, what is lost is, I imagine, potentially people's jobs. Because I don't I never really read book reviews like by critics in magazines or whatever, with the exception of occasionally academic books in a academic journal. I'll read reviews there if the book title sounds interesting. But since less people are kind of reading that stuff, I imagine there might be people who kind of lost their jobs because less people are reading professional book reviews, but I don't know. I have like no concept of how that business works. What is gained, I think, is probably a more like kind of common reader opinion on books. Because, you know, with a professional critic, they're working for a magazine, and they are not just going out willy-nilly, I don't think, and saying, I'm going to review this book today. It's like the publication is like, you're going to review this book, and then they review that book. So there is it's already curated, if you know what I mean. Like, there's already going to be like a certain reason that the publication is like, we're going to review this book but not this book. And I think some of that can be elitism, whereas like literary fiction will be more often reviewed than genre fiction. So I think that some of that curation and elitism goes away, and we get this more common reader kind of view of books, of what people are reading and what people actually like. Like, it's not just the critics that are liking this book, it's like, you know, Joe Schmo who lives in a small town in wherever and is just like a guy, you know? So I guess a more everyman approach to books, maybe. Then, like, professional critics are obviously professional. They do this as a job. Like, they are, I imagine, in some, like, they have training or education or something that makes them a good critic. Probably a background in literature and like a knowledge of what is good writing, etc. So that also might get lost when it's just random everyday people reviewing a book. Like, they're less knowledgeable about what makes a book, technically speaking, good. So I don't know. Like I said, I never really read professional reviews. I think I would occasionally look at the ones in People magazine when I was at my Nana's house and flipping through her People magazine. But I never like read the New Yorker book reviews or any other professional publications. Like, I don't even know what publications have book reviews. I have always gotten book reviews through like the more hobbyist places like people's blogs or YouTube, or honestly, most often, Tumblr. Like, like, it's always just been the hobbyists and not the professionals for me. So I don't even really, like, can I even speak to what is lost or gained? I don't know. Probably not. But I think the big thing would be that kind of more elite curated approach versus the everyman common reader approach. And like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I think it can be either. But, and also some of the hobbyists like are also professionals. Like Steve Donahue, I'm pretty sure, is both a professional critic and a booktuber. So maybe like this more hobbyist approach to book reviewing is getting a wider reach for the professional critics because more people are watching YouTube than are reading whatever, the New Yorker, the whatever magazine, and all that. I don't know. It's a really interesting thing to think about, and it's making me kind of want to look at more professional book reviews. So maybe I will start doing that. So that is the role of the BookTuber tag. I'm not going to tag anyone because I know this is going around and I don't know who has or hasn't been tagged yet. But I do want to thank Allison for this really thoughtful tag. I've been enjoying watching everyone's responses so much. Let me know your answers to some of these questions down in the comments. I would love to hear about how you choose to review books. What do you think is lost or gained with the rise of hobbyist book reviewers? If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my bookish content. It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.